Hello, incredible humans, and thank you for watching this video. Thank you for your time today during our workshop. I wanted to hop on here and very quickly share some finishing notes because we were kind of pressed for time at the very end there. We talked about physical, like self-care needs in terms of the physical portion and the mental health portion in different ways that we can address and cope and manage and deal with those areas. And I wanted to speak really quickly about the creativity and the connection part because not only were they questions, but I know it's a big part of what you do and who you are. So in terms of creativity, we have to be intentional about giving ourselves space and sitting down and being creative, right? Whether that means putting on music and dancing around, whether it means coming up with a dance routine with some of your friends, whether it means painting or coloring or drawing. And I mean, seriously, like I have a pack of color pencils and a coloring book that my daughter is not allowed to touch. That is mine, right? Because on days or in spaces or in times where I'm not able to take a dance class or take a Zumba class or whatever, I still have to have a way to express myself creatively as an artist. And all of you are artists. So I want you to give yourself permission and room and be intentional about creating spaces in your life where you can express yourself creatively when theater is no longer available. That could also include different things that you do to hone your craft, right? And to like get better at your skills. Take a class, take a lesson, join a group. I don't know, there's so many things that we can do to not just hone our skill and our craft, but to also give ourselves a continuous creative outlet. And it doesn't have to look like theater. It could be something else, because as long as we're playing and giving ourselves permission to play, yes, and to have fun and to express ourselves in creative capacities, it is going to have an impact on the theater portion of our lives, right? So in terms of our creative needs, we want to make sure that we are taking a class, coloring, doing something, but definitely being intentional about addressing and processing and de-stressing in creative ways, right? And not always de-stressing either, just sometimes it's just about fun. And then in terms of the connection needs, because we have a human need to connect, right? That is a human need. Again, we want to be intentional about carving out time. And here's something that I realized, not just from my own history, but also from my daughter. When you are in theater and you're getting ready for a show and you're surrounded by these people, excuse me, and everybody is like-minded and headed in the same direction, you are spending a lot of time together. But you are not actively connecting in an intimate way, building a friendship in a sort of way with every single person that you're interacting with. So I want us to really think about, what is it that I'm looking for that I had in that space? Time to sit and talk with my friends. I can make time to sit and talk with my friends, right? I can make that time in other times of my day or in my week or in my month or whatever in my life, because a lot of times we think that it's the entirety of it. And there are components of it that if we break it down, we can then say, oh, this is what I miss. Okay, this is what I can do. Oh, this is what I miss. This is what I can do. Oh, this is what I miss. This is what I can do. And create this like contingency plan. So when I feel this way, or when I'm feeling the lack of or the missing, I can do something about it, right? I can take responsibility and I can do something about life happening through me, right? So the other thing that I want to talk about is on the sheet, the worksheet, you have your story. So I want you to write your story. It doesn't have to be super long. And it could be very specific to this time of your life, when theater is over or when musical chorus is over. What now? What's that story that you're telling yourself? What's that loop that you're playing over and over again? Because we act, speak, think from that place. So when you start to change that story and rehearse that new story, it impacts everything else. And then you have your affirmations. You want to write your affirmations or your mantras, powerful statements about who you are and what you're capable of. Of course, there's the gratitude list. I recommend doing gratitude every single day. It's the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning. Lies. It's the second thing I do. The first thing, that's my cat playing with tissue paper. The first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is I smile. And then the second thing I do, before I even get out of bed, I think of 10 things that I'm grateful for. And then I start to say, I feel so good. I feel so good. I feel so good. I feel good in my body. I feel good to be alive. Yeah, that's what happens when you leave tissue paper on the floor. It becomes an adventure for the cat. because she's intentional. Her life is happening through her, right? And then at the bottom corner, the bottom right-hand corner, sideways, it says celebrate your wins. And we can always, and all of us, get better practice at honoring and celebrating all of our wins, the little wins and the big wins. I celebrate when my whole house is clean, but more importantly, I celebrate when the toilet's clean, when the tub is clean, when the sink is clean, when I scrub the floors, right? So by celebrating all those little moments, when the bathroom's clean, I have been practicing celebration, and then it feels more fulfilling. We have a tendency as people to wait until the big culminating moment, and then we celebrate. And then when the moment's over, we feel like, oh, now I have nothing to celebrate. But there were literally thousands of steps that led up to that moment. And if we get better practice at celebrating our wins, the little and the big, we can find that we're doing it all the time. There are always magical moments in our lives that we can be like, hey, and celebrate could mean give yourself a high five, do a little dance, share it with someone, let someone that you know love who's going to, rejoice with you and celebrate with you. Write it down. I have a journal that I keep my gratitude, my affirmations, and sometimes I just write down what my wins were for the day, right? Because again, it gives us this constant space of remembering that we're getting it done. We're doing amazing things. Not the big thing all the time, because you can't do the big thing just like that. You have to do the 1,000 steps to get to the big thing. So celebrating constantly helps us find more spaces of fulfillment and satisfaction and ease in our life, which is really what this is about, finding spaces of ease so that it doesn't feel like we're being crushed when we're not doing the thing that we think is the only thing we can do, right? And then at the very, very bottom there, it says side by side. And what that lists, so there's a line and a hyphen and a line. And on one side, I want you to think about and write down those pieces of the things that you would be missing or what's coming up or what's the real disconnect for you. And then how can you use either the list, that's something that's on the list on the back of that sheet. It's a self-care list, and it's got connection stuff, it's got creativity stuff, it's got mental health stuff, it's got physical stuff, right? It's got physical space stuff. So how can you take something that's on that list and then use that as a way to deal with, cope, manage, cure the other thing, right? But we have to be aware enough to say, this is what the issue or the opportunity is, and here's how I'm going to work that opportunity out so that it does end up benefiting me in the long run. So if you miss theater, that's so broad. What do you miss about theater? I miss hanging out with my friends. And the thing that I can do is reach out to my crew and say, hey, let's put it on the calendar. Every other Saturday, we're going to hang out. We'll rotate whose house, and we're going to hang out for like a couple of hours, right? There's always something that you can do. And especially if it's with a group, just be honest and say, I want to be able to hang out with you guys more. Since we were able to make the time for theater, let's make the time for each other. Let's make the time for our friendship. Right? So then if what you miss is being able to use your talents, what you can do is practice, take an online class, follow YouTube and practice on YouTube, take an actual class, like go take a class that you can pay for, find a group with similar interests and meet up with them, right? So that you're still using your talent and you're actually honing that skill so that in your downtime, you're using that time to build up your craft. So when you go back to theater, you're improved, right? You've worked on your skills, you're more improved, you're ready to go, you're geared up, you're excited. And if you've learned anything new and you've been practicing anything new, you're even more excited to start because this is the space where you get to utilize all your training, right? So on the one side, what is the issue, the circumstance, the bump? And on the other side, what is the self-care tool that you can use to help manage, cope, or deal with that thing? And then when we create these plans and we put them in writing, it's so that we can go find it and say, oh, there it is. That's what I said I was going to do. And this is how I'm going to work it out. Because when it feels hard, which it will, because you are a whole human and you have this full gamut of emotion. And when it feels hard and you can't think of it because you took one workshop that was, less than 90 minutes, you wrote it down. It's available. Oh, wait, I just have to find that paper. And then you find the paper and there it is. And I would also recommend putting that paper someplace where you can easily find it. If you have a journal, glue it in there or staple it in there. put it on your wall or something. Some of my clients write it up real nice and frame it and hang it like by their desk so that it's boom. It's like one of my clients very brilliantly, she said, you know how you go places and there's like emergency exit signs everywhere? She's like, that's like my emergency exit sign. When this happens, this is what you do. When this happens, this is what you do. When you feel like this is what you do. And then practicing those things to see, is that the right thing for me? If not, at least I tried it and I'm working towards figuring it out. I'm going to give myself room. I'll try something else. And if it did work and maybe I need to tweak it, great, right? So she created this like plan and then she framed it and put it on her wall. And she said, it's my emergency exit. To exit out of the negativity, to exit out of the drama, to exit out of the overthinking, to exit out of the anxiety, right? So what is your side-by-side, your contingency, your emergency exit plan? If you have any questions, you can email me at supersparklyeverything.com. I'm at gmail.com. Thank you again for choosing to show up and spend your time with me. I hope that you were able to get something from the workshop and that it benefited you in some way. And seriously, reach out if you have questions. I'm here and I usually try to get back to people within 48 hours. It doesn't always happen depending on how busy I am, but I will definitely get back to you for sure. And again, oh my gosh, amazing performance at Mamma Mia. Yes. Thank you. You're amazing. And don't you dare forget it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.